proposed the Alabama Power Company fuel clause. He said that
it is now.
Yes.
Now, what my question is this,
Being off the line, flowing into line 5. It's included, 4.585 is included in the 7.5.
Well,
next question, let her ask a question for me. How much overcollection?
in the month of June, which we tried so hard to warn the people that to watch usage, that still the residential sector's usage was increased by 39%, while the industrial usage was less than 0.5%. And I think this goes to show that what we have said so many times, that industrial usage is not nearly as temperature sensitive as our residential customers are. So when their usage is up, they get hit with more of the cost of everything. And I certainly hope that before this hearing is over today, that we can make some adjustment to the residential sector for the overcollection of this millage, because in my judgment, and I believe also in our staff's judgment, the factor for September should be lower than the August factor anyway. So if there's any break at all that we can give in August for the overcollection, I want us to do it.
By that same amount, can we?
Replace total purchase, it might mean a difference of say 450 million off the 11 million. I mean 450,000 off the 11 million. That was it.
I think what we're saying here is that,
Of course, the July fuel adjustment had been at the highest level it's ever been, and that was the main reason why I had earlier proposed that the automatic fuel adjustment be abolished. We felt that the consumer simply could not afford to pay any higher fuel adjustment rates, and we placed a ceiling on the fuel adjustment rate. It cannot, for the time being, go any higher than its present level. That sounds very good, but the real result of it is that we have saved the consumers 68 cents on their August electric bill.
That's 68 cents per 1,000 kilowatt hour?
That's correct.
Do you think that the power company is going to go along with this decision?
I don't know. They have said they'll let us know next Monday whether or not they'll go along with it, and that's the problem with this automatic fuel adjustment. The power company themselves get to set the fuel adjustment rate. We don't have any say in approving it or disapproving it. All we can do is make a recommendation, which we did. We recommended the ceiling. And now it's up to them as to whether or not they're going to go along with it.
But if they go along with it, we can see that power bills, as far as fuel adjustment clauses, won't be going up at least for another month or so.
That's correct, and I hope that during this period of time we'll be able to complete the hearings on the abolishment of the fuel adjustment, and very possibly that there will never be a fuel adjustment again as high as the one this past month.
2 mills. We could have picked it up, the whole 2 mills, the following. And I think what we're saying here is
Residential, I believe it has run along a long time.
The first statement I would make is that the capability of the Department of Defense today is adequate to perform that we have, is that the Soviets are making substantial force structure. That is, how many squadrons do we have? How many divisions of the easy and some of the hard? There are none of those left in the Department of Defense. So we have to look for an increase in purchasing power. The Soviets are turning to technology as well as numerical strength to make their point. So it is the level of commitment and dedication. It is our view that their percentage of GNP is at least twice ours, if not more, perhaps 3 times as much in terms of percentage of GNP. And the scope of their armament program is one that is unmatched since the Germans in the 1930s. Clearly, the concern is the trend line. They are continuing a level of increase. Ours has just started to turn up, and we think that is long overdue. And the concern, again, is not today. We are all right today. The concern is 5 to 10 years from now, because the decisions we make today will determine what we will have in 5 or 10 years. And in our view, a real increase is required. We're changing the mix of our airplanes in the Air Force. The F-104, F-100, A-37, F-105 are all old airplanes. And as you can see, we're phasing them out by 1981. And we are putting into the force A-7s, F-15s, which is the world's finest air-to-air fighter, the A-10, which is uniquely designed for supporting the troops on the ground, and the F-16, which is an absolutely superior day-to-day fighter. There is a great improvement in quality of our aircraft, and there is an increase in numbers. So we are confident that this program will permit us to continue to have the capability to handle the Soviet threat. We believe that the risk that we face has grown rapidly, and we do not see any signs that the increase in risk will abate. But with the help of Congress and with people like you, we can continue to offset their growth and achieve the level of security that we think the nation needs and deserves. With force structure, that is, how many squadrons do we have? How many divisions does the Army have? How many ships does the Navy have? Thank you.
Have the lights back on, please. John Furlong.
Road and Air Base, Seth Johnson School, and Exchange National Bank.
They bring it on until it's transferred to the city's vehicle.
Right. Move the stuff from the car onto the, we will buy and add.
At night, struck his head and died. No children have drowned in any motel pool. As a matter of fact, only 2 drownings in apartment pools in that period of time. This is an exceptional burden in expense and in work and in capital investment for what we feel is an unreasonable, not a problem to support it.
Montgomery, not probably in your pool, but it might happen tomorrow in your pool. But 5 deaths, 2 near death in 1 suit. And this is too much, and how much is too much?
And I think maybe some people in Montgomery, managers, apartment managers, and hotel managers, maybe they think those fences are unsightly. And I'm sure everyone in this room knows that I have been charged with child neglect, which I intend to fight, because it wasn't on my neglect that my baby wandered into that pool that morning, because he had been no more than maybe 10 minutes left my side. And nobody can realize how costly those fences may seem costly to them, but it's not as costly as a baby's life.
Associations and
Mike House.
House, right. And we'd be the first to admit that any death, no matter what the cause or who it happens to, is a tragic, tragic situation.
Lodge parlor here, she would need special approval from the city council. 7 at night, huh?
She called me several times. In Texas, adopted our massage parlor ordinance almost to the word.
You're making national news, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, may I see that?
4. All opposed? 5. The motion is defeated, Mr. President.
In this
I know about this then.
What was that,
That was his demands for, say, job security.
George, as you probably know, come August 6th next month, the contract that we have now with the CWA does expire. We are actively negotiating both on the national level and the local level with the union for a settlement. It is our intent to reach a settlement with the union that will be fair to the employees in their wages and wage-related items, and at the same time protect the interest of the customers and as well as the stockholders.
Mm-hmm. If the company is forced to give a salary increase to workers, will this require an increase in telephone rates?
Well, obviously, all of the costs that are involved in providing telephone service have to be borne by the subscribers. As I said earlier, any settlement that we arrive at will be based on the best interests of the employees and take into consideration the customer body and the economy in general.
You have asked, the utility company has asked the Alabama Supreme Court for a rehearing on a recent rate increase request. What is the status on that request now?
All right, we are awaiting a decision by the Alabama Supreme Court, and if I may, George, let me kind of trace that history. Back in February of 1975, based on 1974 cost, we asked for $59 million rate increase to do the things that we had to be done in Alabama in the telephone industry. September of 75, the Public Service Commission authorized us something less than 1/3 of the amount we asked. They authorized $16.7 million to do the job. This clearly was not enough, and we asked the courts to overturn that decision, and after hearing our argument, the Circuit Court of Montgomery did authorize $59 million to be put in under bond, and this was in January of 1976, and that's the amount that we're collecting now. In early June, the Supreme Court of Alabama overturned that Circuit Court decision and said that 16.7 was a fair amount of rate increase. When the Circuit Court had awarded this $59 million, we went ahead in good faith and spent some $180 million last year in providing new and expanded telephone service. In 1977, this year, we're in the process of spending some $218 million. $50 million of it is being spent right here in the Montgomery area to upgrade and provide better telephone service. So we clearly do not feel that $16.7 million is a fair rate increase, and we've got to have the revenues to meet our costs.
Montgomery fire medics have now put 2 UHF radios into use, which will enable them to send electrocardiograms to all 3 hospitals' emergency room from any point in the city. Officials say with this capability, Montgomery doctors will be able to make a more accurate interpretation of a victim's condition, so they'll better know what to tell the fire medics to do.
It allows us to have direct voice communication with the physician while we're on the scene. Not only does it allow direct voice communication, it gives the physician something to look at. Not only are we his eyes and hands in the field, it allows him to see what's going on. It sends an EKG, which is an electrocardiogram of the patient's heart, into the hospital. He can read the certain type of rhythm, which is the heart, the cardio function of the heart, and thereby giving him some signs of what's going on in the field. He can give us thereby orders on what type of medications and such as this to administer to the patient.
Montgomery fire medics are the first in the nation to use this advanced telemetry equipment, giving them an edge on life-saving that others don't have, and adding even more public confidence in the task of the fire medic. Bill Weaver, WSFA TV News.
The system, what we have us a white male patient laying down here, so a fireman. We will run a strip in to you, and let me know how everything comes out, okay? Okay, we'll go to a lead 2 strip.
I believe it will ruin Elmore County. It will just totally destroy land values and living habitability of Elmore County. We are the natural bedroom community for Montgomery. We have scenic avenues, we have a beautiful place up there. We can't afford to have any more prisons. People will be pushed out of there, they will leave.
I'm not for it,
Well, I just don't want another prison in Elmore County. We've got enough as it is. And they get out all the time up here anyway. And our deputies and all have to chase them. And I just don't think we need it. I'll put them somewhere else.
Well, I'm against it. I feel like there's more prison facilities in this county than we can handle right now. I know the prisons are needed, but I think they can find a better place in Elmore County. We've got about 4 prisons, something like that, here now.
The prisoners get out and we be in danger. We were having church Sunday night and some had broken out around on number 9, and it just frightened me.
You think that would increase the dangers of more escapes if you had another prison here?
I believe so.
Some members of the Board of Corrections, what has been their response in terms of making another decision against building another prison in Elmore County?
Well, the people I've talked to, Norman, are ready to do something about it. They feel that possibly the decision was made based on either some bad information or a lack of information, and I think probably they'll do something about it tonight at the meeting that's been called by the board. First of all, I think that everybody concerned realizes that this decision was made really without contacting the local people, without giving them an opportunity to be heard on something that affects their county. And I think probably in the future, any potential prison site, then the procedure will be greatly changed and will be different, and the people, the local folks, will have an opportunity to let their voice be heard. And I think that's the real problem here.
Is this an emergency meeting of the Board of Corrections tonight?
It's a specially called meeting. I think it's for 7 o'clock tonight, and I'm sure this will be considered. I believe that everybody involved wants to clear up the problem that has come up and do it as quickly as possible.
All natural resources. Year 76. No commissioners have been appointed to the agency. All right, the Governor's Natural Resources Commission. This Dr. McCrumman, I noticed the use of money. And we're going to provide it for the 2 money committees, and then they can do.
It would equal or surpass a dividends method that do we?
No, we don't pay dividends. Legislature don't pay dividends to. I think. Well, these are users, major users of state money. I think we need to develop all the information we can for the 2 committees so that since we won't have budget hearings, we need to develop this information for the committees so when we do get back here in January, it will expedite the consideration of the appropriation bills. I don't want to do anything to delay. I want to do everything I can to expedite the rapid passage of the appropriation bills next year so that all the statewide candidates can get out and campaign. We don't want to keep them here in the Capitol and involve them in controversial matters. They need to get out with the people, and I want to do everything I can. If information is developed from this, we can call in the agency before the F&T Committee and the Ways and Means Committee can call them in to appear at the time we consider the appropriation bill. I think, if information's developed that's interesting, I think perhaps they should have the opportunity to come in and make and present their side. We wouldn't want to. I don't think anybody in the legislature would want to treat any improper, unfair.
People down there that work out a lot of the problems.
On the courts and human rights, but we got to work these problems out. We got to. There's been no standards, no standard operating procedure. I don't think.
Well, I'm both pleased and displeased. I'm pleased that we're making some progress in putting inmates to work. Because this has been one of the goals of this committee, is to see inmates in the Alabama prison system work to help instill something of the work ethic in them and to help defray some of the cost of operating our prisons. So progress is being made here, slow but sure progress. I'm displeased in the fact that we're not further along in additional prison construction. The Board of Corrections has approximately $9 million to spend, which would house approximately 1,200 additional inmates. We have inmates backed up in our county jails. There's only one prison under construction at the moment. They have funds for 2 additional prisons, and I think that we've got to get on with the business of building additional prisons to house the prisoners in this state, because I think that the citizens of this state want criminals in jails, and they do not want judges having to give shorter sentences or deferred sentencing because we don't have a place to house inmates.
Question interfere with the other, but placing expediency ahead of morality in case of conflict. He honestly believed that the greatest good involved keeping himself in power, and that whatever aided that aim was in the best interest of the nation as a whole. He did not cover up any White House activities because he knew they were wrong. He covered them up because he thought they were right, but would be stopped if they were disclosed. If one accepts that premise, one can understand the Ellsberg break-in as an honest attempt to further the goal of plugging leaks in the administration. In his mind, a perfectly valid goal. If the goal were valid, the means used to achieve it were also valid. So goes the Nixon rationale. Lying about Watergate developments and stonewalling have been dismissed as a mere extension of politics. Those are Nixon's words, not ours, and he's apparently sincere about them. The danger is not that those things go on, but that they're accepted as normal and right by the President of the United States. What sort of picture has Richard Nixon painted of himself? It's clearly a picture of a man who confused his duties to himself with his duties to his office, who considered that whatever served himself and his cause would necessarily be good for the country. Whatever else Nixon did for this country, he taught us a lesson we must never forget. The law is higher than any man, and that law governs presidents as well as other citizens.
This has been a WSFA TV editorial, an expression of opinion by this station. WSFA TV offers a responsible person representing a significant opposing viewpoint an opportunity to respond.
That's tonight's 6 o'clock report of news, sports, and weather. And from all of us at Channel 12 News, we hope that you have a very nice weekend.
From Alabama's News Center, this has been WSFA TV News, the 6 o'clock report. Our next news tonight at 10.
Fabric World has drastically cut prices on thousands of yards of fashion fabrics for the Super Sidewalk Sale this Saturday only. Save on ever-popular Ponte de Roma double knits, just $1 a yard. 60-inch leisure knits in assorted solid colors priced at a low 25 cents a yard. A gigantic fabric bonanza, solids and some prints, only 20 cents a yard. Beautiful dotted Swiss in a wide range of colors, an unbelievable 45 cents a yard. Supplies are limited, so hurry to the Super Sidewalk Sale this Saturday only at both Fabric World locations, 3560 Atlanta Highway and Fairview at Cleveland.
If you've wondered what one of your favorite series would be like without violence, you may find out next season. Pressures are forcing network programmers to cut down on the mayhem. But will the viewers watch? Read about the predicament this week in TV Guide.
Darling, I know we only been together for a few months, but will you Bernice?
Pasta passion. Get carried away. Get luxury brand spaghetti.
WSFA TV 12 Montgomery.
Get ready to match the stars. Dick Martin, Brett Summers, Charles Nelson Riley. From Mary Hartman, Deborah Lee Scott. From Family Feud, Richard Dawson. And Joyce Beulah Watts. As we play the star-studded big money match game, PM. And now, here's the star of match game, PM, Gene Rivers.
Thank you, Johnny Olson. Thank you, friend. You're a wild and exciting bunch, and so are you two. Oh, you're beautiful. Now say hello to these two beautiful people, Donna Forst and Michael Becker.